Um, Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here for the Future Design 2024 program. Thank you for hosting this event, and thank you for offering me the opportunity to share our research with you. I will be reading from the manuscript, so you might see me looking at my screen over there. And that is also to make it easier for the for the translators, because I will just stick to the manuscript that way. So my name is Olivier de Vette, and I'm working on future design pilots in Amsterdam. In this presentation, I will share what we have been doing so far and what we plan to do in the future regarding our future design research. And just before we begin, a small note on the title of this presentation. It is a bit different than how it was announced in the program. Instead of Soilbase for healthy generations, for reasons of clarity, we have decided to call it more straightforwardly Future Design Pilots in Amsterdam, because that is the essence of what I'll be talking about today. And also Soilbase for healthy future generations, I found leaves a bit of confusion to participants, for example. So firstly, let me show you what we show the participants of future design when we start with the pilot. This artwork that you see here is called Field by Anthony Gormley. And this is a collection of small soil figures made by a large group of people. Each figure has been given a unique outlook by its maker, although they are all shaped to resemble a small person. Together, they look back at us, as if calling on its makers to make us conscious of their existence. And it is a work about the human collective future and responsibility for it. They're all tiny humans, so that figures. And in other words, these figures resemble future generations. They represent future generations staring back at us. The artwork aimed to look back on its makers and the viewers as if they are all responsible for the world in which they live today. And this, I think, is very similar to future design. We use future design to make us conscious of the existence of people in the future that depend on us to create an equal playing field, to give them the same opportunities that we in the present have been given. So now I would like to briefly outline who we are, what we do, and how we plan to achieve our goals on future design. As said before, I am Olivier de Vette, and I am a PhD candidate on future design at the research department, Epidemiology and Data Science at Amsterdam University Medical Centers. And also, for reasons of clarity, I will just abbreviate this from now on to Amsterdam UMC, which is also how we refer to it. My promoter is Professor Dr. Tessa Rosenbaum, and she is the Future Generations Commissioner at Amsterdam UMC, and has formerly been tasked with making sure future generations are properly taken into account in the policy and actions of Amsterdam UMC. So she is my promoter for this PhD. And as such, we work in a healthcare environment, and we work on prevention in a broad sense. That is one of the main themes that we address in our research. Prevention of sickness and prevention of worsening healthcare conditions, of course, to be sure, but also prevention of short-term fixation and prevention of compromising our future ability to act. These are definite risks that exist in a healthcare environment, for there is a very understandable focus on fixing problems right in front of you. There is a sick patient arriving at Amsterdam UMC that requires immediate care, and doctors, understandably, need to cure a patient as soon as possible. But that doesn't mean that we can neglect the less immediate healthcare concerns as a result, which are also very serious. So the question then becomes, how do we achieve these prevention goals? How do we make sure we won't fixate on only the short term and won't compromise our future ability to act? And we think future design has a large part to play to address these goals that we have. So let me share our research goals with you. The first one is implementing future design for multiple long-term healthcare issues that require answers from the community of Amsterdam UMC. And there are lots of examples of that, and I will share some more later on. But examples that I could mention now are sustainability and education. And when it regards sustainability, for example, as you may know, healthcare infrastructure is typically very unsustainable. To make and use healthcare equipment is CO2 emission intensive, contributing in such a way to climate change may only worsen the future health conditions of patients. And this is, of course, a paradox, making patients better by polluting the environment, which in the future will make patients sicker. And we want to use future design to look at these type of issues and hopefully solve them eventually. Simultaneously, we have another goal, a research aim, which is to scientifically substantiate future design research for Dutch working environment. And that is because future design, of course, was originally established in Japan, and we need to test and verify whether future design works with the same type of methodology in a different cultural context and work environment. So to do this, we have a method that will work similarly to the one established in Japan, and most of you will probably recognize this type. I will go over it generally to give you an idea. So in short, the method that was established in Japan and also that was recently shared in the praxis of future design by Yoshinori, Nakagawa, and Tatsuyoshi Saijo is also the method that we generally intend to follow. And this would make comparison between research conducted in the Netherlands and in Japan easier. In short, the participants that we invite for these cases go through 3 successive stages. And the order of that is that they first do a regular design session so that they would discuss an issue in the same way that they would normally do. Then we host a past design session. And that is, well, at the moment we count 40 years back and ask the participants to imagine how 1984 would look like, and then tell their predecessors, their ancestors, about everything that is now here, like all the changes, and that is past design. I can't go over it in detail the way we do it now. But then next we have future design, and we work with these 3 successive stages because we would like to show the clear differences in types of solutions the participants come up with for each stage, but also because we want to familiarize the participants with the reasoning of future design by first conducting past design. Because of course, in past design, they would be doing the same thing as they do in future design. It's just that the time frame is different. So when we arrive at future design, we first ask the participants to discuss their shared ideas of 2064, specifically if the current trends in healthcare nowadays are not addressed. So for example, you would still have an aging population that requires more extensive healthcare. There are still trends of rising warmth, rising global temperatures, and that is somehow not addressed at all. So normally that would result in a very bleaky future. That is not a future that we generally hope for. But we do this to inspire a sense of urgency. And then from that point onwards, the participants can try to address it with the next steps. So the next step is, what would you like to tell the people in 2024 if you want to achieve the brightest possible future? And here they can formulate their message to the past in 2024 and reason from the type of future that they would like to manifest. And based on this brightest possible future, they would need to reason what should happen from 2024 onwards, right until the moment of 2064. So let me go over the cases that we intend to go into detail with at Amsterdam UMC. The first one is very generic. It's the future of Amsterdam UMC, but this is the case that we started our first pilot with. Basically, the question is what can best be done to optimize the Institute of Amsterdam UMC as a whole, including research, education, healthcare, and valorization. So that is all, those are all functions of the Institute of Amsterdam UMC. The second is the future of healthcare professionals. This is a case that we aim to implement for students and ask them how the future of healthcare education should be developed. For example, what should be the balance between immediate caregiving and long-term prevention goals, and how should this be integrated in the formal education for healthcare professionals? I see that time is running short, so I will skip the next two cases, but I'm sure you can imagine something with the future of work-life balance at Amsterdam UMC and the future of Amsterdam UMC housing. Now, as for the first pilot, we have already hosted it. In August, we hosted this first future design session, and this was a pilot that we intended to learn from, how to improve the method, and how to arrange practicalities, how organize it, how to invite everyone, what equipment we should use, etc. As such, the case for this session was very broad, and we did not focus on a certain group of participants. Rather, we invited anyone who worked at Amsterdam UMC and who was interested to join. So the participants were researchers, teachers, doctors, and policymakers. It is about the future of Amsterdam UMC, so it is broad, and we tested mostly did the participants think and feel differently after implementing future design and after implementing past design. The short answer is yes. We saw very promising results. And to give you an idea of that, it was mostly when first we implemented present design, it was very specific and very implement so and so and do this and that, very on the details. And when we went on to future design, it became broader, and it also became more of an overview in a sense. And that is what generally also we see in the literature. And also good to notice and mention is that there was a definite growth of empathy. We asked before and after how the participants felt connection to their past, present, and future, and that all basically grew. So that is to give you a first impression of the results. We still need to go over it in more detail in our research, but this is the first outlook. And so to conclude, I have told you about our research aims. These are twofold. One is to resolve cases that are specific issues for Amsterdam UMC and healthcare in general. And the other research aim is to substantiate future design further in a different cultural environment. I've told you that the method we employ would be similar to the one frequently used in Japan, as far as I know. And I've told you about the type of pilots that we will prepare for Amsterdam UMC. These are fourfold at the moment, but could develop further in the course of this research. And finally, there are some promising first results that I talked to you about. So thank you for listening. Thank you for attention. And feel free to ask questions or discuss any of the information I shared with you.